Manchester United to Everton to Manchester United has actually finished their pre-season tour in the United States and will be heading back to Manchester shortly because we have our next game this weekend against Fiorentina. So it was actually a nice game against Everton, and I'm here to break down all what happened in that game. I wanted to actually break down all the tactical analysis, tell you guys about what happened in that game. So guys, let's dive into this video together. So one of the issues of Manchester United has been one of the lingering issues of Manchester United over the past years, which is actually the build-up phase. You could see yesterday Manuel Ugarte was actually struggling to play with his back to goal. Almost all his passes were not accurate. He was having probably one of his worst games in the Manchester United shirt, and this is going to be a problem going into our first Premier League game of the season, because even if we are going to remove Manuel Ugarte, we are probably going to put Casemiro, which is also bad in build-up and playing with his back to go. So this is one of the problems that Manchester United is going to be facing obviously next season. As you all know, the build-up phase is one of the most crucial phases in the football world currently, and if you're struggling to play from the back, it's going to be one of the biggest issues. And we know that we don't have a number 9 that can be able to effectively hold up unless we probably get Mbeumo'S or maybe another striker. It is going to be hard to go long when you cannot be able to play from the back, because one of the remedies of playing not being able to play from the back is going long and then holding up with the striker and then having like a transition moment. But we don't have the striker actually to play from, to go long and do some kind of hold up play. So it is going to be very hard for Manchester United to cope in the first 3 games of the season, as we are going to be playing Arsenal, Fulham and Burnley. Even though Fulham and Burnley are seen as underdogs and a team that we can easily ride against, if we don't get our build up right, it is going to actually be a big problem for Manchester United. So Manchester United needs to recruit a goalkeeper that can be able to play under pressure. We should be able to recruit an athletic midfielder that can be able to play under pressure, that can run over large distances, that can help us to retain more possession in the middle of the park. So I think if Manchester United can be able to solve these lingering build-up issues in the team, it is going to help us to physically impose ourselves in our opponent. So this is actually one of the issues that I found in our game yesterday. We are actually finding it difficult to build up from the back, probably because of the personnel we have. The personnel we use in building up are not the right personnel. So this is something that we are going to struggle with for the littlest of time. Also, one of the things I actually discovered yesterday in the United game is that there was some kind of interchange between Bryan Mbeumo, Matheus Cunha and Bruno Fernandes. They were interchanging, all of them were interchanging in the front 3. Most of the times you're going to see Bruno in like the 11 position, most of the times he will be in the central position, and most of the times he's going to be in the right position. And this actually helped us when it comes to attacking transition, because that makes it even hard for the Everton defenders to pick who they are going to mark. It created some kind of variability and unpredictability in our game yesterday, and it is something that I have actually found new, because it is not something that we saw regularly last season. We were a little bit rigid and static last season, but in this season we are beginning to see some kind of tactical flexibility from Ruben Amorim. And also in majority of the phases in the first half, you could see most of the times Bryan Mbeumo is going to drop deep to connect passing circuit to the deeper lines. Most of the times Matheus Cunha is going to drop deep, and most of the time Bruno Fernandes is going to drop deep. So this is something I would really want to see in next season, because last season we did not really have our best football, finishing 15, probably our worst season in 51 years. So we are going to expect, there's a lot of expectations from Amorim going into the season, and also there's also a lot of expectation from the board to deliver when it comes to signing players that is going to help elevate the squad. So when it comes to how Amorim is beginning to adapt to the Premier League, how he's beginning to adapt tactically, we are actually seeing evidence, because he's beginning to do a lot of things, a lot of new things. He's beginning to try a lot of new formations, a lot of new styles that we did not actually see last season. So this is actually one of the positives that I took from the game yesterday. The third thing I'm actually going to be speaking about today is the pressing structure and the management of possession. You could see Manchester United has resorted to pressing with a 4-4-2 shape, and it was actually evident in this game. We were pressing with the 4-4-2 kind of system, and it actually made Everton to go long most of the time. We were not able to play from the back, so we went long and actually gave the ball back to Manchester United. But how did Manchester United manage this position? Most of the times you see situations whereby Bruno was supposed to keep those easy passes. Bruno was supposed to go simple with his passes, but he opted to go long to Amad Diallo twice and it didn't work out. So Bruno Fernandes is actually the detector of the team. You actually expect him to try to dictate the game more, maintain the tempo of the game, try to give those simple passes and easy passes instead of going long. And this is something Amorim has emphasized time and time again, that he wants the team to be more patient and refined in possession. He wants us to be more patient in possession. He wants us to do the easiest things when it comes to playing possession, because most of the times it's like Bruno likes to give a lot of long passes that really hampers the way Manchester United flows when it comes to possession. So it is something that Manchester United needs to work on, especially when it comes to the people we are going to be choosing to partner with Bruno Fernandes. We have to partner people with Bruno Fernandes that are more disciplined, that are more refined, that are more good in keeping possession and maintaining the tempo of the game. So when it comes to the pressing structure of Manchester United yesterday, the pressing structure was actually good, but it was not maintained for a longer period of the game. But when it came to the way we manage possession, when it comes to the West Ham game and the Bournemouth game, I think we manage our possession. We actually play more good possession based, but when it came to the West Ham and Bournemouth game, as opposed to the game yesterday against Everton, we were not really good on possession out of the ball. We were not really solid. So this is something that needs addressing. This is something that I know probably Ruben Amorim is going to be working on. But I think that there are characteristics of your team you cannot be able to change if you don't get the right profile of players. The profile of players we have in Manchester United in the midfield pivot is not ideal for the Ruben Amorim pattern. So Manchester United need to change a lot when it comes to the midfield profile, and this is going to help us to change some kind of aspect of our game. It's not just enough to put the blame on the coach to change his tactics, to resort to playing some kind of football. Most of the times you need a particular profile of player to properly execute your ideas. So this is actually the third positive that can be able to bring for the Everton game. The fourth issue of the Everton game I'm going to be speaking about is the physicality of the game. Overall, we were more physically dominant against Bournemouth and against West Ham than we were physically dominant against Everton. I think most of the times we found it difficult to dominate Everton physically, as we already know that they are a very good pressing side, they are a very good physically dominant side. So I think it is something that we actually struggled with yesterday, probably because of the same midfield issue. We need an athletic midfielder, a disciplined midfielder that is going to partner with Bruno Fernandes, that is going to bring a lot of pace, that is going to bring energy, agility, explosiveness, a lot of ball carrying over long distances in the midfield. This is something that Manchester United has been starving for years, and for us to impose ourselves on teams, for us to physically dominate teams, we need the right defensive midfielder. And Fabrizio Romano said last week that Manchester United is actually doing some underground work when it comes to finding the right midfielder, that they want to add a defensive midfielder before the ending of the window. So probably the recruitment team are doing their work to try to recruit the best defensive midfielder that can be able to be a partner to Bruno Fernandes, because we all know that Bruno Fernandes is going to be playing as our number 8 next season. So we actually need to do everything possible to get the right profile of defensive midfielder that is going to help partner Bruno Fernandes, that is going to help us to impose ourselves physically into other teams. Because if you look at the physicality in the defensive unit, in the attacking unit, I think we were more physically dominant in the defensive phase and the attacking phase. But when it came to the middle of the park, Manchester United were short again physically. So I think if we can be able to add that physicality in our game in the middle of the park, then I think the quality of football Manchester United is going to be playing is going to be really, really elevated. So finally, I'm going to be talking about the standout performance of yesterday's game. We're going to be starting with Leny Yoro. You could see that Leny Yoro is actually a breath of fresh air in the defensive unit. He's very instrumental to whatever Manchester United wants to do in the build-up phase, in progressing the ball, in attacking transition, in diagonal switches. The Leny Yoro was actually flawless yesterday. He had a very wonderful game yesterday. He was probably one of the best players in the defensive unit. He was miles ahead of Matheus Cunha. He was ahead of Luke Shaw when it came to that defensive unit. He was playing very well, very flawlessly. So Leny Yoro is actually the standout performer for me from yesterday's game. He was actually very, very good. He was helping in retaining possession, in trying to make us to control the tempo of the game, make our build up a little more faster. So when it comes to who was the best player for me yesterday, I will not actually choose Bruno Fernandes. It's going to be Leniero. And then going over to Amad Diallo is actually making the right wing back position. He's helping in attacking transition. He helps Leniero to double up on defenders, which makes Leniero to be able to push up effectively. So when it came to defensively wise, Amad was helping. Attacking wise, he was also helping. And then back to the player that had one of the most impressive debuts in Manchester United yesterday was Bryan Mbeumo. Bryan Mbeumo was actually a breath of fresh air. He actually had a very wonderful debut. He was good attacking wise. He helped Amad to double up on the position, which was actually very sweet. He was actually very, very good yesterday, and he could have actually scored his first goal for Manchester United. But Bryan Mbeumo is such a breath of fresh air. His pressing ability was good. He was good in attacking transition. His first touch was actually good. Dribbling, everything was solid, but you could see that he was not really up to speed. He's still trying to get his fitness intact, and probably sure after the Fiorentina game and more training section, he's going to be up to speed and ready to go in the Manchester United shirt. So that's that about all we learned in the Everton game. This is the final pre-season tour game. So I want you guys to give me your thoughts about what you feel about this game. If Manchester United is actually going to play well against Arsenal, is going to play well against Fiorentina. I want you guys to like, to share, to subscribe to Tactical Trafford, as I'm going to be making more video about Manchester United. So see you guys in my next video.